Well, hello. I hope we are all good. And you can all hear me fine and dandy. Just get that up there. Lovely. We're all good. Welcome. Welcome to the Stadia Monday Night Chat. I'm your host, Clive Illenden, of course, and I'll be your tour guide tonight as we meander down the merry road to Stadia Land. Thank you for the confirmation about the audio there. Much appreciated. So here we are, episode 4. Episode 4 indeed. Wowzer. Can you believe it? I hope you and all your families are well and healthy in these crazy times. Oh my God. Anyway, I'm on a work from home tick. I don't know about you. So from now on, I'm working from home for the rest of my life by the looks of things. So thanks, Boris. As the country here in the UK, we basically face a lockdown. So what better time, in my view, what better time than to test out your country's broadband infrastructure by cloud gaming on Stadia. I do believe it is, in fact, your civic duty. I thank you. And what games have we all been playing? Put it in the chat. Let me know what you've been playing. Of course, I've been playing a lot of Destiny 2. Been playing a lot of Destiny 2 with the girlfriend. She wasn't really a gamer, per se. But now I can't get her off the bloody damn thing, Destiny 2. She's always on there. I've been playing loads of SteamWorld Dig 2. I found that terribly frustrating sometimes. Sometimes I just think, that's it. I can't work it out. I can't go any further. I leave it for a couple of days. I come back. And then suddenly I discover a little secret area and I'm off again. But it is it's quite a tough game, I find, SteamWorld Dig. So, yeah. And I just started the Hand of Gilgamesh as well, which my girlfriend said, oh, I looked at it and they talked too much and then talked about going in search of a mushroom and I gave up. And on that amazing selling point, I thought, really? Really? Is it going to be that good? But actually, I'm well into it. I'm really enjoying it. And it's a bit like Paper Mario. Don't know if anybody's ever played Paper Mario, but that thing's where you take it in turns with your characters, and they sort of have an individual hit, as it were. I quite like that. You know, I never thought I'd be into the sort of card game style of game there. And there was a game on the Xbox. I think it's like Halloween Candy Hunt or something like that. Something to do with. Again, it was a sort of similar thing. Yeah, like a Pikachu card game, exactly. So I'm actually quite in it. It gets quite tense when you sort of see your health running down and you're thinking, oh my God, I need a health card, or I need to finish this boss level off. Oh my gosh. So anyway, as I say, what games you're playing, let me know. Those are the main games I've been playing. I'm looking forward to, obviously, as the civil society collapses around us, there's lots of new games coming on board, of course. Let's have a look at those while you just let me know what games you're playing. Let's have a look. Here we go. So there we go. We've got some the Division 2, of course, launches tomorrow. Yeah. So for those that are sort of getting bored of Destiny 2, bored of Destiny 2? What? No, it is possible. People have described to me that Division 2 is a bit like Destiny 2 in the fact that there's sort of loads of missions and stuff to do. I've avoided looking at sort of playing it on the Xbox and stuff like that because I just want to play it exclusively on Stadia. So that'll be fun, and no hanging around waiting for other people because obviously PC, be cross-play with PC. So that should be good, and let's hope that sets a good example for other games as well on cross-play. No idea what the price is going to be there, David. No idea. It's been out I mean, the thing is, we're not getting the base game. We're getting the base game plus the whatever it is of New York. I forget what it's called now. Brain's gone dead. So the DLC that's coming with it combined. So it's not as though we're getting sort of the base game that's been sort of on offer on Xbox at, you know, a few pence or whatever. So I don't know, maybe 20 quid. I don't know. Sort of base game with the DLC on top. I think I'd go for it though. I mean, I'm stuck at home now indefinitely. So, you know, this is my entertainment for the next foreseeable future. So Division 2, definitely looking forward to that tomorrow. Warlords of New York, thank you Stadia Mania, Warlords. So definitely looking forward to that. Then it's a busy month, isn't it? Really, games. It's great because we've had the Steam games. We've had. We've got Division 2 tomorrow. We've got Doom, of course, Doom Eternal, coming on the 20th of March. So 4 days? End of the week, Friday, is that? Yeah, Friday. And then the following week we've got, I don't know, why am I wearing these bloody headphones? Sorry, excuse my French. Don't need them. We've got, where was I? The Crew. We've got Crew 2, 25th of March, of course, coming. I did try to play the Crew 2. I think it was a Games with Gold, I think, on Xbox. I found it quite difficult getting sort of qualifying for the first level. We'll get to the 4K bit, Stadia Mania. Just, keep your powder dry, baby. Just hold your horses. We're good. We'll get there. Don't worry. So the Crew 2, yeah, I'm looking forward to giving that another go. As I say, I did try it on Xbox. And the first thing you sort of have to do is sort of a street race, sort of get to a certain point in a certain time, and I think I struggled with it initially. But we'll give it another go. Let's have a look. Oh, I think we're back. There we go. Are we back? Yes. Hopefully, all is good. We're live. Are we back? Can you see me all right? Let me know. That was a bit of a panic. It's happened before. It was bound to happen. Woohoo! It was bound to happen. Right, where's that PC order I've built online and I've ordered? I've been putting it off. It wasn't the OBS, mate. It was the whole laptop. It's happened before in the evenings, and I thought if that ever happened live, it's going to be terrible. And there you go, it happened live. Anyway, we're back. No worries. Keep calm. Carry on. He says. Oof. Right, there we were. Lost Worlds. Yes, we were talking about Lost Worlds. Beyond the Page, 27th of March. That's sort of my game. I like those sort of mysterious sort of platformy game with the romantic thing. I was a great fan of, and I'm going to forget its name, on... Oh, what's it called? The one with like a stringy wall thing on Xbox. From EA. Oh, I've forgotten his name now. Not Yar. It begins with a Y. Can't remember. Anyway, beautifully made games. Beautiful made games. I like that. And Lost Worlds looks like one of those. And of course, Monopoly. 28th of April. People mock Monopoly, but do you know what? Last week, or a couple of days ago, Shroud, he of now Mixer fame, former Twitch superstar and now Mixer fame, normally he's playing battle royale games all the time. He last week or a few days ago, I was watching his Mixer stream, and no, it was posted on YouTube, but from his Mixer stream, and he was playing Monopoly. And I think that Monopoly's a great game if you're going to stream with a sort of a party of you. It's a right old laugh. Family rows live on the stream. What could be better than that? Marvellous. Anyway, and then Rock of Ages 3. I am liking the Rock of Ages 3. It's got a sort of I've got a picture here. A sort of a Terry Gilliam style to it. Let's transition to that. A Terry Gilliam sort of style of artwork. The sort of cut out classic art and stuff. It looks kind of quite weird and funny. So that, again, an interesting design style. I like that. I like that interesting design style. Let me know what you think about these games. Anything there in particular? Are you excited? Are you just going for the AAA games? Are you curious to test out some of these other games which are a bit more quirky? Plus, some of these games I've just mentioned as being released, they give specific release dates, and none of them at the beginning of the month, apart maybe 2nd of June, but none of them are like on the first day of the month. So that means that none of these are going to be pro titles. Not all pro titles are always old titles. So I wonder if we'll get some new pro titles, if that makes sense, rather than just existing titles that they've decided to go out on pro. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Let's have a look at what else we've got here. Ooh. I suppose I'm going to have to talk about Doom Eternal. I did do a video. I don't know if any of you have seen the video that I did on Doom Eternal and the whole look at all those games there. I'm going to just transition there. Look at all the games. This is courtesy of Stadia Source. I took a screen grab there, of course, but just to give an idea of sort of the games coming very soon. But yes, I did do a YouTube video. I hope you've all watched it on YouTube. Yeah, I think it's all a big Doom about nothing. I'm over it now. I'm over it. I had my moment. I had my little rant. I'm sort of a bit more cool with it because, like a lot of things in the world, I think people take a very simplistic view. I think if you have the view that Google lied. No, nobody lied to you, mate. Nobody lied. Maybe misunderstood. Maybe weren't clear. Nobody, maybe things change, circumstances change. That's not a lie. Circumstances change. All these things. And one of the things that I've sort of thought about more since I originally did my video on the whole "it's not in native 4K" is that one thing I know about development, one true thing about development is what you have, what they call design creep. As the game develops, as the time crunch comes in, the combination of those things is you want to put more things into the game and time becomes more compressed. Decisions have to be made. There's a finite amount of processing power, and it's not just a case of, okay, we'll make everything native 4K. They might be able to deliver the game in native 4K, but at the expense of what? As they added more and more, say, particle effects, lighting effects, that maybe they hadn't planned or they explored or thought would look really good, it may have been at the expense of saying, okay, well, we can keep all of that, but we'll just have to reduce the scale to 1800p, and we'll upscale it to the 2160p, and that allows us to then have all these effects, all these lighting effects, all these particle effects, these smoke effects, all of these, and give a really beautiful 4K image. And I'd rather have that runs at 60 frames per second. And I'd rather have that than, say, a native 4K, but at the expense of, say, some particle effects or smoke effects that makes the visuals more multi-dimensional or more visually exciting. So it's about twiddling the dials, so it's nobody's going to tell the difference. Okay, it's just something to sort of people get their teeth into the bone of the whole kind of, the guy went on stage and announced it in native 4K. Things change. It's still going to look amazing at the end of the day. 99.9% of the people won't be able to tell the difference if it came up and smacked them in the face. So it's it's going to look amazing, and they're releasing it on the basis it's going to look amazing. So looking forward to it. There is a question, it might be the parity issue, is that, you know, given the time constraints, they got it to a level that could run on the Xbox X, and then just thought, we don't have time or any more to sort of squeeze out that last extra bit of juice that Stadia might have. Who knows? It may be a bit of both of what I said, a bit of like adding in more effects that meant that they ran out of the capacity to sort of make it up to native 4K, or they did all of that up to Xbox One X level and then thought, well, we've just got to now kind of keep it, as you say, parity. A bit of the two. Who knows? At the end of the day. Anyway, there you go. That's my thoughts. So I'm over it now. It's, you know, once we've got it in our hands, once we're playing it, it's just going to blow us all away. I mean, people love the way that Destiny looks and feels and plays on Stadia, and the beauty of that is that, you know, it's in 1080p, upscaled to 4K, but runs at 60 frames per second to give that real smooth feel. So we're going to get a game that is, and Destiny 2 looks great. We're going to get a game that looks even better than that and equally runs at the same pace. So, you know, it's all good. And as people, you know, develop directly to Stadia more and more, they'll eke out the real power. I always back in the old my development days, working in the games industry, the first few games that ever came out on the platforms, it took about 2 to 3 years for developers to really work out and understand the hardware, to then eke out and squeeze out all the extra things. It takes time for them to sort of work that all out, and I think you'll find that with Stadia. In fact, more so with Stadia, as developers start developing games specifically for the platform and realize they can do all these things that you can't do on other platforms. So I think it's exciting times ahead. And as somebody mentioned in the thing, you know, at this rate, 120 games easily, the rate of release is just going to increase. It's just going to increase, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt about that. One thing I wanted to talk about here, while I'm thinking about it here, is I came across, I don't know, there is a streamer on Mixer who streams Stadia games. So Mixer, of course, is a Microsoft platform, but, you know, you can be on any you can play on any platform. It's not exclusive to Xbox, but it's Microsoft's version of Twitch, for those that don't know. And there's her name is Carly at Stadia or something like that. I'll leave the link in the details below. But look, she makes little stands and stuff for Stadia controllers, and I think she's going to make some Stadia coasters, and they're all available on her Etsy store. I thought they were quite cool. I think she actually made an award for one of the Stadia Saturday tournaments, like a little wooden winners award. So there we go. I just thought I'd share that with you. I'll leave a link to the Etsy store in the description down below. You'll see it there. But if you're interested in getting a nice little stand for your Stadia controller, the other option, I bought a stand for my Stadia controller. Amazon Basics do, I wonder if you can see it, it's all wired in at the moment. Let me just, whoop. Amazon Basics basically do a charger for the Switch controller. Really cheap, and USB-C connection, and the Stadia controller fits in it really nicely, almost as if it's made for. Check that out on Amazon. I'll leave a link for you actually in the description later, which is really kind of cool. But I just thought I'd share that with you. Check that out. So the other thing that's been happening, I just want to talk about briefly, is the GDC. Although obviously it's not happening live, is happening on Twitch virtually. So although this is not the Google talks, Google are doing their own one, I think next week, their sort of GDC equivalent. But if you're interested in the various chats that were going on at the game's developer conference, then check it out at twitch.tv GDC. They have live broadcast theirs. So just check that out. Other news as well. Chromecast Ultra are bringing out a new version of Chromecast Ultra. Let's change the visuals there. 1 second. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back to my lovely face. Thank you. Yeah, so there's a new Chromecast Ultra coming out based on the Android TV, and it'll have a remote, which is quite cool, apparently. Word on the street is. So I think that'll be quite cool. And no doubt with that, again, the Stadia will be baked into it as per normal. So lots more people will be being able to access Stadia on their Chromecast. Google obviously pushing that quite hard in terms of, as I say, doing a new release and making it much more easy to access the content via your Chromecast Ultra using a little remote control. So that's kind of cool. Talking of Uplay Plus, there was an interesting interview with, let me just find his name, with the VP of Ubisoft. His name is Chris Early. And he's mentioned, so there was an interview with him, and he talked about, he was talking about GeForce Now support and upcoming Stadia releases. He is a VP there over at, he's a senior VP at Ubisoft. Interesting enough, he sort of said it was quite difficult to port to Stadia, which I thought was quite interesting, and obviously much easier for them to have their games on GeForce Now, because obviously GeForce Now, they're just the PC versions. So I thought that was quite interesting. He wasn't poo-pooing Stadia or anything like that, but he was just saying that it was a bit more difficult. And cross-play, he talked about cross-play, so the fact that the upcoming release of Division 2 supports cross-play between PC and Stadia, and he sees it as a sort of a natural progression to enable more and more people to play with each other on these platforms. And he was asked whether this was an ongoing goal for Ubisoft. And he basically was saying, yes, it is. So we probably will see more and more cross-play, especially from Ubisoft games. So I think, that's quite interesting. So, I mean, as ever, lots happening. We're definitely going to see more and more Ubisoft games. But interesting enough, as I say, the Ubisoft senior VP, this Chris Early, he did say it wasn't that easy porting games to Stadia. So there is a business decision to be made about which games they put across. But he did confirm that Uplay Plus, so we know Uplay Plus is coming in 2020. We know that for sure. And this is the senior VP of Ubisoft confirming, he was asked, is Uplay Plus, would it be coming to Stadia? Can you confirm it? Is it still part of Ubisoft's plans? And he said, yes, as we stated last E3, Uplay Plus will come to Stadia in 2020. So there we go. Straight from the horse's mouth. So it's coming, I don't know when, and no doubt probably at E3, even though we're not having an E3, but the virtual E3s that are coming along. Christmas, do you think it will be that late? Resurrector? I'm not sure. I think it might come earlier. It seems a bit late. You want it, I think, available when they launch the base, or soon after they launch base as an option. Go Pro plus a subscription. That's interesting, actually. If they launch the base and then you've got a choice between going to Stadia Pro or sticking with Stadia Base, which is free, but then playing for a Uplay Plus what would people do? You could do both. We're factory going in terms of porting everything, getting everything ready in order to have all those games ready to be available to us on Uplay Plus. Yeah, they do need. Yeah, I mean so they must be working behind the scenes on loads of games already. You're going to get all the Ubisoft games we've already got. Plus, they must be working behind the scenes on all the other games. I think with ID Software, though, the difference with them is they've been working on Doom Eternal on Stadia almost as a sort of a direct development for that platform. They're not taking an existing game and then porting it at the end, where Ubisoft are going back to their old games and then having to port them all. ID Software were playing with Stadia over 12 months ago, if not longer. Maybe it started 18 months ago, just to see if Doom Eternal could work. So they've always sort of been developing it with that destination in mind, the Stadia destination in mind. Whereas all the Ubisoft games, of course, they've got to go back, change all the assets, or get it all running on sort of Vulkan or whatever it is they need to do. But yeah, it's great to see Ubisoft is embracing Stadia. I mean, I don't know where Google would be or Stadia would be with if it didn't have a big publisher like that behind it. And the fact that there seems to be a transition of, a happy transition of personnel between Ubisoft and Stadia suggests that Ubisoft get it. And the new, Jade, Raymond, she gets it as well. And there seems to be a good relationship between the two companies, and that's what we need. But equally interesting enough, I was thinking in the presentation last year, some of the publishers on there were Activision and EA. So it'd be interesting to see some of their games start coming to Stadia, as they were on the big PowerPoint when Phil Harrison was talking about all the publishers they were working with. So that'd be interesting to see when we start getting the games from Activision and EA on there, or certainly more and more Activision and EA games. Certainly looking forward to that. But as I say, for the next week, we've got lots of great games coming, and it's only, in order to hit that 120 games, it's only going to increase. In my view, it's only going to increase. Right. Just on their Doom Eternal as well, there's some in-game events they're going to be launching. So I think they're going to keep the game fresh by doing some regular in-game events, which is going to be quite cool, something to look out for. I guess it's the thing with sort of most major AAA games is continued content. So there you go. Really, that's all the sort of the major news, events, everything that's sort of happening really in the world of Stadia this week. It's been a crazy week in this world generally, and it'd be interesting to see as the world works at home, how the old broadband works. I know Stadia went down in some parts of Europe last week for a little while, just a couple of hours. Equally, Xbox went down. Xbox Live went down, I think, on Sunday for a couple of hours. So they're all perceptible, these game services. So yeah, and also I noticed Xbox X, bear with me here, have been releasing lots of social media stuff over the last 24 hours about the specs behind the Xbox X. They had a sort of a behind closed doors session with journalists and opinion leaders who got to see the Xbox X, take it apart, So there was a YouTube video by Digital Foundry, who'd been invited by Xbox One X to take a look at the machine, take it apart, put it back together again. So I think, the big major gaming companies are gearing up for those big announcements, and I think that means Stadia as well will be gearing up for those big announcements. Tech Radar had an article where they thought that Project xCloud, there'll be an announcement about the Windows 10 app that they've talked about last November. They talked about Microsoft talked about the Project xCloud coming to the Windows app, and that will be interesting because it will be the first time we can compare sort of the browser experience with Project xCloud. Because at the moment, people, I know back in the day, and I've done sort of reviews comparing Stadia with Project xCloud, but they're two very different things. Project xCloud is only a mobile phone, a thing that you can stream to your mobile phone in 720p. So it's apples and pears. You can't compare it with Stadia. You're playing Stadia in 4K on your Chromecast Ultra or 4K in your browser, and yeah, you can play it on your phone, but that's the only bit that you compare. I did a video and talked about this, saying if you want to compare it, that's fine, but you can only focus on comparing the experience on the mobile phones, because at the moment Project xCloud is just limited to mobile phone. So if, as rumoured, Project xCloud is about to launch a Windows 10 app, I'm in the what they call it now, not the inner circle, but the Xbox sort of beta side of things. If they do launch that, it will be interesting to see what it's like. My experience of Project xCloud was all right, but it wasn't. It's not quite as smooth and lovely as the experience of Stadia is for me. So it'll be interesting to see if Project xCloud on the Windows 10 app is launched in the next few weeks, and B, as a result of that, what's Stadia's response? True, xCloud. xCloud. At the end of the day, we know exactly how powerful Project xCloud is. It's Xbox S. That's what it is. Basically, an Xbox S in the cloud, or your own Xbox streaming if you have that option. So I'm part of the inner circle, the Xbox thing. I forgot what it's called now. Anyway, so I can also do console streaming, which is quite interesting. But you're playing your Xbox S, which isn't bad, but you're playing it at 720p in your phone. So it'll be interesting to see, based on my experience being a bit on the phone, what it would be like playing in a Windows 10 app. It would have to be at 1080p at least. So and straight away that's falling short of the Stadia. But Stadia is the cloud gaming element of Stadia is what it is, whereas Project xCloud is a complement to, or another way to play your Xbox games, but the main way to play your Xbox games is on your Xbox One X or your Xbox One X Series X, whatever. The cloud bit is complementary to it. It's not the sort of the best way to play your Xbox games, whereas Stadia, the whole point of Stadia is that's the console. So they're different beasts, as they were, different beasts. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, my experience was, I certainly noticed that it wasn't my first experience of cloud gaming, because I played on the Shadow PC, which was impressive, but again a bit laggy. Project xCloud I could play, but it was definitely laggy, but it was playable, and I thought, well, okay. But when I knew Stadia was coming out, and they talked so much about eliminating the the latency and the lag and looking at the whole chain of where lag occurs and where they can improve that. I kind of thought, if anybody can do this, and I've said it before, if anybody can do this, Google can. And so for me, and that's why I'm a big fan of Stadia, not only because the experience spells it all out for me. I mean, like, I've played it non-stop. I've hardly touched my Xbox. In fact, ironically enough, I bought an Xbox One X in January, and I've hardly touched it. It gets used. My son plays it all the time. I play on the Stadia. It's just become so convenient for me, just to pick up the controller. I don't know why it's any more convenient than me pressing the controller on my Xbox controller and then just pressing the, but it just feels like Stadia. It just feels more convenient. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the novelty, but the novelty's not worn off for me. So anyway, Stadia really blew me away when I got it, and it lived up to my expectation in terms of what Google said about the science behind them eliminating the latency and lag and looking at every element of where that lag is. Yeah, the wait times, the loading times. Is your Xbox at your desk? No, well, my Xbox is under there. And then I can play my Xbox on that screen, and I can also play it. I have a monitor here. I can also play it on the monitor here. So I have a HDMI cable that runs into a 4K splitter and then runs all the way behind this bookshelf to my monitor here. So I can, you could check out one of my YouTube videos that I did. I did one Xbox, two screens. So yeah, and I had to change the splitter so that it delivered when I got the Xbox One X, because I suddenly realized it wasn't delivering, even though I got a 4K TV, it wasn't delivering it in 4K, or it wasn't recognizing it as 4K because the splitter. So I had to change the splitter, and I did a YouTube video on that. But yeah, so yeah, we're all teched out here, and they're hardwired. The Xbox hardwired in. I don't rely on the Wi-Fi. So yeah. But as I say, my son tends to play, and he's got an Xbox upstairs as well. My son tends to play on the Xbox One X, plays Fortnite all the time on it. Occasionally Destiny 2 with his mates, and that's the thing. He asked me whether we could play together, and it means, well, we can, because he's got an Xbox One S upstairs, but it means I have to play on the Xbox One X. And of course, I don't have all the DLC in Destiny 2 on that. I only have my DLC on the Stadia version, of course, and I play mostly on Stadia. And I have to say that it's much smoother. Well, that's exactly Stadia's for the us oldies. Joke. Let the kids play on their PlayStations and Xboxes. But it would be nice. Interestingly enough, though, given the broadband, there's one a drawback with Stadia. I get in 50 to 60 megabits per second, I might have said before, to the house. Plenty for me to get a great experience playing Stadia, even if my son is playing on the Xbox, playing Fortnite, my daughter's, I don't know, watching TikTok or Snapchatting or whatever. Okay, boomer. Snapchatting or whatever. It still runs great because I'm hardwired into my Chromecast Ultra, so that's not an issue. But I had a friend over who also I gave my buddy pass to, and we tried to played Stadia in the Chrome browser here, me on my Chromecast Ultra, and I couldn't do it because I was using up all the bandwidth. So I think if you've got maybe 100 megabits per second or more, it's probably fine. But I'm right at the limit of where I think where the maximum experience is really at that. I know it's like 35 megabits per second, but yeah, to play comfortably 50 or 60, absolutely fine. But if you want to play Stadia on use that broadband amount, play Stadia, or 2 accounts of Stadia, it doesn't really work for me, which is unfortunate. I live in a village, so they ain't getting cable to the door very soon. But let me know your experiences. You know, can you play 2 people in the same house? Yeah, random noob. You see, that's what I need. You see, my girlfriend she got a Virgin to. She's not a Virgin, no. She got a Virgin into Easy. She got a 100 plus, I think, megabits or a 1 gigabit or something crazy anyway. And I'm so jealous. That'd just be awesome. Yeah, I think you need 100 megabits plus to get the 2 streams in your house. So that's the one thing I do miss, because I had a spare buddy pass and I thought, well, I'll give it to my son, but yeah, 1 gigabyte, Jesus Christ, that's sweet. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The other thing is that if I try to stream games, if I try to stream my Stadia games, then it struggles, because I'm using up all the upstream, the upload and everything, with Google, so I can't stream. That's why I wanted, one of the things for me when I first got Stadia is, of course, the Google engineer talking about how you stream straight to YouTube, and they would send one signal to YouTube and send the game experience straight to you. So you weren't doing any of the hard work, or your system or your laptop or whatever wasn't doing any of the streaming hard work. And that's one of the main things. I tell you, as soon as they launch that, I'll be streaming all the time. I like streaming. I stream on Mixer of my Xbox, or I used to a lot more back in the day, a few months ago. But since I don't play that much Xbox, I don't stream as much. But yeah, so that's one thing I'm really looking forward to with the Stadia. One of the features, being able to stream straight to YouTube. I think in the UK they're rolling out. Even BT are planning to do a big rollout of gigabit internet to various cities and towns and villages, but not mine. We have fibre to cabinet, and then it's copper wires to the houses. So top we're going to get is 70 megabits per second. Well, it might be at 1 gig now. Might be overkill at the moment, but I'm sure it will be. You'll be going, oh, I need more. But I'd love to know what it feels like to play on 1 gigabit. Well, actually, it doesn't really matter, because if it works at 35 megabits a second, it doesn't matter if you go faster. It just gives you can do more things while you're playing on Stadia. That's the main thing. 50 up, that's plenty. Well, who knows? I think who knows what they're going to send down. I mean, it's hard to sort of say, oh, we'll never need any more. There's one point when they say, oh, you need, something like 20 megabits per second to sort of stream or whatever, and people go, 20 megabits a second, that's ridiculously high. Not who has that? And now it's like, 5G is going to be delivering that into people's houses, as well as cafes and restaurants and whatnot. So we soon find a use for it, but I can't think what now. Well, I live near Newbury, actually, and Vodafone HQ is there. So often Newbury often gets sort of the cutting edge technology. They often pilot things in the town, because Vodafone is HQ'd there. Not that, I say, I live in a village, so a bit further out, but I don't know. I don't whether they just upgrade the masts near us I mean, ultimately, if you get 5G, it would be a way of getting better than you've got if you have a 5G hub in your house. That's a way that villages can get sort of faster broadband speeds. Yeah, exactly. Stadia goes to 8K, 120 frames per second. And you might laugh now. What? They can't even do 4K. Liars. Who thought gaming would be a 4K 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago? As a sort of a norm, as the benchmark of people not being satisfied that something is not in 4K. I mean, can you imagine? I remember when they released HD, full HD. No, you had HD, and then you had full HD. Oh yeah, full HD, 1080p. So HD was 720p. Yeah, the bypass. Exactly. Stumpy. Do you remember Stumpy? Tied himself in a chain to a tree or something. Or no, it was down a hole in a pipe. And had to drag him out in a protest. And he was a mini celebrity for a while. Stumpy. I think his name was Stumpy or Stompy. Anyway. Thank God for the bypass, actually, as it turns out. Yeah. Oh, I tell you, with data caps in the US, they're going to have to change. Consumers will rebel, especially given the fact that, given the coronavirus and the world's going to be working at home over the next few months, and extra demands on streaming, extra, cloud gaming comes big things. Those companies, if they want you to buy their service, their broadband service, they're going to have to stop the caps in the US. So, yeah, you have aggressive companies in the US, and they're the same companies that basically shut down Google Fiber, which would have offered, cities 1 gigabit of fiber, and they relied on some old ancient law or agreement with the government to kind of shut down Google Fiber. So,
sorry, I'm not sure how to help with that yet.
He's kicking off again. Just as soon as I say Google, you think I'm talking to you. Dear. Yeah, exactly. Do you think... Yeah, they won't be able to turn them back on. I think you're right, Ashes to Ashes. I think once you have cotton... no, once you have silk, cotton will never do. There's no going back. They've opened the box, Pandora's box. Yeah. A move over space? What do you mean, go into space? Explain, Alberto Madonna. But yes, data caps will definitely become a thing of the past. Consumer demand will say, that is ridiculous. You are holding us back from progress, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then, it's fair game for people to, for people coming with 5G and then eventually 6G and say, why do you even bother with the hard line into your house? We will offer you limitless data. You come with us. And then, of course, all the broadband suppliers will go, holy shizzle, we better sort our act, sort out our act. It's the future. There's lots of changes going to happen. The other thing you should mention here is Wi-Fi is going to change. It's going to upgrade to Wi-Fi 6, they call it, because they have stupid names at the moment, like 802.1G or whatever. They're changing that, changing the protocol of how they name Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi 6 is coming in, and Wi-Fi 6, because everybody is in the house is all using Wi-Fi on their phones and on their fridges and their Google Home Assistants and Alexas and all that kind of stuff. Our current Wi-Fi doesn't have the capacity, really. It struggles in the house. So Wi-Fi 6 is the new protocol, and it allows loads of more devices to connect seamlessly, faster, all of that. And that's going to improve the cloud gaming experience as well. So it's all coming. And somebody's asking me, or maybe it's too early, Stadia, releasing cloud gaming and all that kind of stuff. But whilst it may not, people go, oh, I don't have those broadband speeds and all those sort of things. When that becomes the norm, Google Stadia will be there with all the games, loads of games. They would have improved on the technology, probably would have upgraded their blades and all that kind of stuff by then in 2 years' time, and they're well established. And this whole kind of Stadia's dead thing will be like completely forgotten about, laughed at. So bring it on. Get in there early. I saw a graph recently at a talk that said, and it showed you when Blockbuster were an $8 billion company and Netflix were a DVD by post few $1 million company, and then the way that their sort of fortunes just went like that, just crossed over, and Blockbuster went bust. Well, that's going to be true of some major gaming companies who don't change quick enough. Microsoft know it; they're on board with it. Google know it. I don't know what PlayStation is doing. They must be doing something. They have all the games, but do they have the technology? And I know they've done a partnership with Microsoft Azure, but they should be talking about it, their plans now. PlayStation Now is not it. Yeah. But that example of Blockbuster, and you see that graph, it is shocking. I know I've talked about Netflix before as an example. I've talked about other people about it as a disruptor to the marketplace, to the business. But it is a prime example of a major disruptor. Yeah, I think people still buy consoles, but eventually they won't become the main focus. They become more niche as the convenience of cloud gaming takes over. In the same way, okay, look, we all had DVD players, and then we all upgraded to Blu-ray players. Who the hell has a Blu-ray player now? I mean, I know your Xbox One can play a Blu-ray, but who actually? Oh, I must go to my Blu-ray collection. Everything's on bloody Stadia or Amazon Prime, whatever, and in 4K. Who the hell would buy a Blu-ray player? So there goes, by that story goes gaming. So well Sony have partnered up with Microsoft, the Microsoft Azure platform, which is bigger than Google's platform. Amazon, of course, has the biggest cloud platform. Amazon's makes more money from their cloud platform than their Amazon delivery service. Stream Connect, yeah, you see that it's thank you Stadia Mania for mentioning Stream Connect. It just reminded me of something. All this moaning about Stadia promised this or Stadia promised that, haha, Stadia's dead, Stadia doesn't deliver in 4K like it promised, and all this kind of stuff. Where's all the things about, wow, in Stadia you can do this Stream Connect thing? You can't do it on PC. Doesn't matter how powerful your PC is. Not available for PC. You can have NASA's PC. It ain't gonna bloody work because it's not available for it. This is what Stadia should start be talking about and putting front and center. Not whether it's not quite 4K or it's just as good as Xbox One X. No, they should be talking about the differentiators. Yes, the differences, the key unique things that you can do on Stadia that you can't do on other platforms. And Stadia Connect is just one small example. The other one is the 40 car race in Grid, because of the cloud platform kind of capabilities. You can't do that on the other platforms. These are the things that you don't see in the press and the journalism. I've seen a few articles about Stadia, and they're talking about something else. But at the end, there's always a little snide dig if they can get it in, and it kind of annoys me. I've seen things which talk, trying to impart information, and then at the end, there's a little paragraph that goes, "But of course, they promised it in 4K, and they didn't." And it's like, you're not talking about that. You're not talking about Doom Eternal in 4K. Why are you just putting it at the end there? Just like have a little kick, a little dig. Why don't you talk about, well, do you know what? You can do Stream Connect in the Division 2. So, I mean, in a kind of tactical shooter game, like, imagine like your Navy SEALs, and you're saying, send me your picture, and you're seeing a little picture in the top corner of the screen of what your colleague can see. That's a real great uniqueness, unique element. These are the things that people need to be talking about. A 40 car race, multiplayer race on grid. That's great. That's great streaming entertainment there. Oh, I get the Google hate. I get it. It's annoying. It's frustrating. It winds me up big time. I understand it. People already made up their minds. And in a way, what annoys me is I get frustrated about it. But the real hate is there's no point in challenging them on it. Arguments never solve anything. All arguments do. There was a philosopher. I don't want to get into philosophy to you. There was a philosopher who, I forget his name, Williamson or something like this. Anyway, but he basically said from the 18th century, and I'll paraphrase in 21st century language, but he basically said that all arguing does is reinforce the other person's view. You'll never persuade anybody by arguing, because their position, when you're arguing, the positions are based on an emotional response, and therefore you feel more entrenched. And we're guilty of it as well as Stadia, supporters. You feel emotionally entrenched, and therefore, if you have an argument and emotion takes over, you will entrench your position. So arguing just reinforces a individual's position. It doesn't persuade anybody. Discussing, having an interesting debate, looking at things with a fair mind, does. But in the world of social media and YouTube and Twittery and clickbaiting titles and stuff, that doesn't matter. Interesting enough, when I did my Doom Eternal 4K video, my thumbnail initially, I don't know if any observant people out there, is different. I've changed it. And originally I just said Doom Eternal specs released. Very boring. Didn't get that many clicks. Then I changed it to something more clickbaity, and I put a crying emoji on it, and a slightly more negative undertone to the thumbnail. And what do you know? The views went up as soon as I did that. 2 days later, they jumped. So yes, I am a hypocrite because I'm playing that game, but I just noticed that if you just kind of put a bit more tabloidy, sensational, clickbaity thumbnail, it gets results. I did a cry face, I think. I can't remember. Check it out on my YouTube list. I changed it. I think it's a crying face. On the basis I'll get people in there. Reel them in. But yeah, it just goes to show that negativity sells. And I get myself worked up into a lull when I see these videos, and I start typing away, as I said before, and then I just delete it all, because what's the point? I noticed somebody in Twitter was saying, I think it was the Glory of Stadia, was saying how somebody put a comment on his channel saying, "I hope Google pay you well for all your videos, mate. Shill." And it's like, really? Phone tapping Doom next. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. I sort of wandered off there a bit in the world of Stadia chat. Talked a little bit about philosophy. I'll try and find a link to that thing. It's an interesting thing about arguing in this world that we live in. Doesn't help. Don't bother. Walk away. Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't think there's enough subscribers yet to qualify. Unlike me. Although, YouTube, I'm still waiting. If you're listening, YouTube, still waiting to be reviewed for monetization. Yeah, I've met the criteria. I've done stage 1, done stage 2. I'm just waiting for review, and it's now nearly 4 months. Please, could do with the moolah. It'd be nice. Yeah, we do it. No, we all do it for the love. Yeah, that's why we're here. We're all excited about it. You know, it's nice to see that, you know, I'm not a lone man like King Canute. Easy when you say that, please. Standing on the beach shouting at the tide to go back. Look it up for your history lessons, children. You know, hollering in the wind. It's good to see that other people there having the same experience as I did, having the same feelings about Stadia when they got it, going, wow. I saw a meme recently about Stadia. I can't remember what it was, but like a positive meme. It was quite funny. Like the people who suddenly get it, they're kind of, oh my god, it is amazing. Oh, you never used it? Oh, you should make, you know. Where they changed the rules, and then cause I had it very briefly. My kid had a YouTube video, and one of the videos went a bit viral. So we made a sort of $20, $30, $40 here and there. Spent it on a little present for him. But then they changed the rules to 1,000 plus subscribers and 7,000 watch hours or something like that. Which I have, YouTube, I have, so please. Hi there, Zen Alpha, how are you? Hope you're good. Coming in late there, Zen. Coming in late, I was wrapping up. Yeah, you should check it out. Anyway, it's a good, you know, I'm curious how many pennies I would make should they finish reviewing the blooming channel. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, rambling on again. Let me know what you're looking for. Next week's going to be a good one because we'll have Division 2, we'll have Doom Eternal, and no doubt everybody's going to be talking about that. All this debacle about not in 4K. I tell you, when that's launched, nobody will be moaning. Nobody will be moaning. Only the mad people will be moaning about it's not 4K though, is it? Not 4K. No, nobody would moan. They'll go, oh my god, this is amazing. This is amazing. And all the people, all the haters, have moved on to something else. When you go back to them and go, look, isn't it? They've gone off. They've gone do something else. Yeah, well, Alberto Madonna, the Google GDC thing is next week. I think it starts on the 23rd. So there'll be lots of things. Oh, no, you'll be moaning. No, you'll love it. You'll just be playing it, man. You'll be playing it. Resurrected. You'll be playing the game. Like us all. Anyway, I'm just going to see whether society's collapsed and there's burning cars outside. So, on that note, stay well, stay indoors, play games. It's the safe way to live in the 21st century. Staying indoors, playing games. This is the future. And working from home. I'll be playing the Division 2, of course. I'll be checking it out. That's right, you've got to socialise. If we're all in lockdown and we can't go out, what better way than to maintain your, you know, it's not about just maintaining a healthy person. There's also mental health. And one thing about mental health is spending time with people. And if you can't spend time with people physically, what better way than spend time with people online, playing games, playing Destiny 2, playing The Division 2, racing in grid, all these things. So if we're all on a lockdown, if you're in a lockdown in your country, or if you have to stay at home, or worst case scenario, and I hope none of you are, but you'll have to have enforced isolation, then make sure that you socialize. And as I say, what better place to socialize than in Stadia, and hook up with some people, Stadia friends, and play Destiny 2 or The Division 2 or whatever it is, or even the Doom Eternal co-op game, co-player game, and stay well. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'd like to thank you all for being here. Oh, look, dirty old man Bob, I forgot to mention you. Sorry there. You had to say it twice. Well done for you. I'm glad that you made the effort to say what you said twice, because obviously we didn't hear you the first time. Fool. Anyway, welcome. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. I appreciate everybody who comes here. And I know sometimes I ramble on, but hopefully you find it interesting, useful, and all those things. As I say, stay healthy, stay safe, and play games. That is the most important thing. And on that note, I shall say, fare thee well. Farewell.